Hey Danilo, thank you for coming today here at the Emirates. Welcome. So I wanted to ask you, how did you get into basketball?
My dad was a basketball player, and so since I was a little kid, I used to go and see him practicing, and that's when the love and the passion started.
Is it good?
Yeah, I still love it, so it was great. How about you? How did you get into football?
Well, for me, since I was a kid, like that's everything I've just done, just kicking a ball since very young. My dad used to play football as well. So, every single weekend or after school, my dad used to take me play some football, and then, one day I found myself here playing professional, so yeah, I guess kind of like you. My dad was the big, motivator for me to, yeah. Who was your idol growing up?
Growing up, my idol was Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
So I grew up watching Chicago Bulls winning, every time. But my dad's favorite player was Larry Bird.
Okay.
Larry Bird and Michael Jordan. What about you?
For me, I had a few, to be fair, when I was a kid. But when I used to play for Barcelona as a kid, Ronaldinho, he had the magic, he had everything, So I think for every single kid back then playing for Barcelona, he was like the biggest idol. So, growing up, he was mine.
So Hector, how did you find moving overseas when you were at such a young age?
It was hard, especially coming from Spain in the summer, came to England, I couldn't see the sun, there was only like grey skies all the time, So it was hard for me, obviously missing my family, but in my head I only had like one thing, I came here to play football, so whatever is happening outside of it, you can think about it. So it was a bit hard, but I got used to pretty quick. What about you?
It was tough because you have to cross the ocean, and it's a different culture. But I was used to. I started living by myself since I was 14 years old. So I was, it was a big step, but it was not a huge step. So, what do you remember about your first game in the Premier League?
Well, I remember in the Premier League, I was a star in that game, against, it was Hull City. And, we didn't win that game. It was a draw at the end, but, just to get the first experience, it was at home as well, against with the home crowd. So obviously for me, it was like a dream come true, I played a few games before, coming from the bench in the cup and stuff like that. But, playing Premier League in front of the home crowd, as a starting player, that was a big highlight for me. That was the moment, that you're waiting for the whole time. So it's always gonna stick in my mind. What about you?
My first game in Madison Square Garden in New York, it was against Miami, I think. And to play at Madison Square Garden is always an unbelievable feeling. Even now when I go back, is great. But it was very, very emotional. You don't understand what is going on. But yeah, it was a special day.
Do you still get a buzz when you come in at the dressing room to play a game?
I do. Not like the first game that I played in the league, but I think that you always get a little nervous and emotional, and I think is always a good thing. That means that you care about yourself and about the game. So yes, I still get a little buzz. What about you?
Me as well. It's only like my second, third season that I'm playing, so it's still pretty early days for me. So there's so many games that I'm still nervous. I'm still like obviously trying to push myself and prove everyone every single game. So I do get nervous, but I think it's really good, as you say. It means that you care. It means that you're ready. That that you're ready to perform. So I think the day that you don't feel that is the day that you can quit. So I do get nervous, but I think it's good to stay on your feet. Yeah. So how much do you love football?
I love football a lot. I am from Italy, so in Italy soccer is all we got. And so growing up there, we all follow football, so I really like it. What about you? What do you like?
Well, when I was a kid in the square that I used to play football with my mates, there was a basketball court as well, So it depended on the day. You either play football or you play basketball. So I used to play basketball a lot as a kid. So for me, it has always been like my second sport. So I remember also waking up early, you know, to watch some NBA games as a kid. I can't do it now as much because I got to rest more, you know, but definitely when I can do it, I do it, and I'm very looking forward to see the game on Thursday.
Who is your toughest opponent?
Well, for me, it could have been someone like Neymar. You know, when we played Barcelona and here and away, it was a very tough match. Obviously, Messi was playing in the other side, so I was lucky. But yeah, he was a very tough player to defend. But I think the team did really well against him. What about you?
The two toughest one, they play in my position, so I have to guard them all the time. Is LeBron James and Kevin Durant. So
could you choose one of them or not?
Maybe Kevin Durant, because in offense he can do everything. LeBron, you can kind of tell what he's going to do. Kevin Durant, you never know. Every second something can happen. So maybe him. Yeah. Has anybody ever dribbled you out?
Yeah, they have. The worst one I remember probably was against a player called Douglas Costa from Bayern Munich. We were playing at home. We won that game actually, you know, for us it was a big game in the Champions League. We had to win, otherwise we were out, you know, so it was very important. But yeah, he kind of like did me in a little bit. So what about you? Have you ever been dunked on?
Yes, unfortunately, yes. Not a lot of time. In 9 years, only 2 times. Okay. So yeah, I'm very proud of myself.
That's a good record.
Yeah, very good. But the worst one was Blake Griffin. Okay. He's an unbelievable athlete. We are playing in LA, and he's 1-on-1. They throw the ball to him, and he just does one spin. And I try to jump, and he jumps so much higher than me that I just try to hide, but it was too late, so it just boom.
You could see it coming, right? Yeah, I imagine. What's the hardest thing about basketball?
The hardest thing about basketball, especially in the NBA, I think is the schedule. Because when you play 3-4 games a week, so almost every other day, is very tiring, is tough. What is the toughest thing about your season?
I think here in the Premier League is that every single game is really, really hard. It doesn't matter if you're playing against the first or the last one. You know, you can go to like the worst team in the league in a night in January at -3 degrees, you know, so every single game you have to be ready 100%. So, you know, there's other leagues like Spain, for example, where you get those games that you kind of can relax or, you know, play with the other players. But here in England, every single game has to be 100%. So obviously that's tiring as well, because, you know, you have to put a shift every single game. So are you now an Arsenal fan?
I am. Are you a Nuggets fan?
I am.
There you go.
What are you saying? Press the button. Subscribe.